Have you ever bought a board game when your spouse said no? Have you ever won a game on an insane dice roll? Have you ever killed a dragon using only chopsticks? Do you text your friends to distract them from your current moves? Can you finish off a pizza in between your second and third turn? Can you ride a panda across the plains of Dewey? Do you have what it takes to stop an evil wizard from destroying your village? Do you tell your friends to call you Dungeon Master? Can you muster the strength to play one more game after 2 a.m.? Can you be the chosen one all the way up to bedtime? Have you ever dared to say no and pick your best friend's favorite character anyway? Have you ever randomly shouted nonsense because you thought it would be funny, and it wasn't? Well, we haven't done most of those things either, but we are willing to try. Join us as we explore the world of board gaming and all the crazy things that come with it. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast.
Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast, a podcast about tabletop games, but mostly board games.
No, it's not. He's lying.
I'm your host, Roy Canada, and with me tonight is Matt.
Yay.
And Rob.
Hey.
I felt like you played like a counterspell on my intro there. Like you're like, interrupt, in response. Right? In response, I play this statement.
Reaction spell. I've been playing Ashes, and so their counter spells are called reaction spells.
Oh, yeah. I saw a bunch of those get played when I was playing with JJ and them. JJ's deck was like slap full of them. So before we talk about what we've been playing like we normally do every week, which we will do, I want to announce a contest that Analog Gamer is putting on at www.analoggamer.com/giveaways. They're doing a contest for the 4X t-shirt that...
Do we qualify?
I'm pretty sure anyone with the name Rob is not allowed to qualify. I'm pretty sure he made that specifically clear. So I'm sorry, I know we have tons of listeners named Rob, but by proxy to Rob on the show, you don't actually get...
I'm sorry. I hurt all of you all.
You're bringing everybody down. No, I'm just kidding. I think anybody can join or sign up. But yeah, so basically you just go on to analoggamer.com/giveaways, and I think you have to put in like your name and your email address, and you'll be entered. And the contest is going to end on August 26th, 2015, if you're listening to this way into the future.
Boom.
But yeah, so guys, make sure to check that out. Brandon's a good friend of ours, and we hung out with
He's
him
a great guy.
Gen Con. So make sure to check out like all his t-shirts there. Good stuff. But make sure to check that out, guys.
Yes.
The year was 2032.
Exactly.
A lone man in a desert listening to a board gaming podcast said, I want a t-shirt.
The post-apocalyptic guys all like, oh man, the contest is over. I was trying to tell Brandon he should have made
Brandon's
it last.
that good. He saw into the future, and the guy should be getting it here shortly. So congratulations, future winner. Your shirt's coming in.
You're the best.
We're so proud of you. Thank you for listening.
Try not to use it as a toilet paper substitute.
Watch out for those rad roaches.
Exactly.
Right?
Awesome. So, first we're going to talk about what we've been playing. Who wants to start?
Yeah. Don't know, because I don't know if I'm still Rob's.
I've been playing. Well, which one do you want to talk about? Because I played a lot of games with you guys.
I can either talk about Spyfall or Rhino Hero, either way.
Oh my gosh, man! Like freaking Rhino Hero. That is like I ended up twittering Haba. Like I love your Rhino Hero game.
Did you really?
And they favorited my tweet and stuff like that. Like that game was so stupid, ridiculous, and addicting. Like I was even telling my wife when I got home, I was like, I know you're mad at me. I can't buy more games, but I really need to get this one. It's like so simple. I was like, babe, it's like not even $20. And so I don't have the okay yet. But
it's on the way.
Anyway, I won't talk about Rhino
I don't have
Hero.
the okay, but it's in my Amazon cart. No,
I know I've been talking a lot about well, not a lot. I know we talked about Ashes, but this weekend, man, I played a lot of games, and I know you guys are going to get in some. But I had some friends over from church this weekend, and we actually got yelled at by an old lady. I won't get into that, but that was funny. But we played Spyfall. That was a lot of fun. And we played Cash and Guns. And shout out to my friend Brian, who unfortunately doesn't listen to this podcast. But we killed him, and it was his birthday. And we killed him on purpose because it was his birthday.
Happy birthday. This will be
He
your
didn't think
last.
we were going to do it. And so, yeah, we all like killed him. And so he was mad the rest of the night. And then, but then today, like last night, I was watching a movie and I was like, man, you know, it'd be really fun. I got these great sleeves. Let me go ahead and sleeve up my Ashes cards. And these cards are beautiful, by the way. Fernanda is like she is so talented. And so I was reading through these cards and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to make like a quick deck. And let me text my friend Steven. And if you guys remember from our YouTube videos, Steven played Twilight Imperium 3 with us. And so, yeah, I was not as prepared as I thought I should have been. Ashes is a 2 to 4 player expandable card game where you, to break it down to make it very simple, it's a lot like Magic. You're trying to kill the other Phoenixborn. You know, in Magic, you know, you have somebody Summoner. Well, in this, we call them Phoenixborns. It's like Highlander. There can only be one. And so I had my cards. He had his cards. But what's cool, though, about this game is you can only have 30 cards in your deck. Now, you can have spells that bring out, like, conjuration cards. So you have a deck of conjuration cards. That can be as big as you want it to be. But you can only have 30 cards in your deck. And so, like, going and trying to make a deck last night, I was like, this card is so cool. No, but this card is so cool. This card is so cool. But then, to make it even harder, you have to make sure that the awesome cards match up with your dice, because you're only allowed 10 dice for your deck. And, like, when we played today with Steven, he had 4 different types of dice in his deck. And he's still won. Mine was horrible. I put in a lot of like really big allies. It was like the human version of the rhino, the iron rhinos. And so like my guy would come out there and then he would exhaust my guy and I'd just sit there and watch him kill me. And by like the 4th turn, my guys would just be dead. And it was not fun. But I still love the game. I'm in fact right now I'm looking at all my cards. I'm wanting to build a better deck. But it's so cool. I would highly, highly recommend this game. In fact, I'm going to start talking to some local game stores about possibly doing like a little tournament there because I joined this Ashes Online on Facebook.
Uh-huh.
And there's actually there's people that are not that far away. Like, what I mean far away is like a couple of hours or something. And Plaid Hat is really good about doing events. Like if you want to do an event, let's try to help you out with it. Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm going to try to set up an organized play maybe in a month or 2 for Ashes. But love it. So that's the game that I'll talk about. Ashes. It's a lot of fun. It's a card game. I highly recommend you pick it up.
Nice. I really enjoyed our plays of it, so it seemed pretty cool.
Like, I want to almost buy you a copy so you can make your own decks because, like, I don't want to make 2 decks because I want all the really good cards, but you can't have all the really good cards. It doesn't work like that, but then I'll get mad if I make you a deck and your deck beats mine. And so, like, just, like, go buy your own. But it's, like, it's so much fun.
It's not the deck, it's the player. I'm just kidding.
No, it's the deck.
Okay. You're just going to make me a deck that's just really bad, like all high-cost stuff, and then yours is going to be all, like, aggro and just swarm me?
Well, I'll try to make a better deck than you did Redemption deck, so that way you have a chance.
Thanks,
I don't want to bust the legend of Roy the Ashes player before it gets started.
Yeah. Well, my deck was like 5 years old playing against like a brand new deck. Well, not even brand new deck. Your deck was like 3 years old, so you know.
Yeah. I had newer cards. It was still fun though. I just like throwing that in there because that's like one of the only things I've ever beaten you at. So it's like
I still think it's funny because like the cards like you were playing were like the cards that I was talking about, like that were specifically made to like stop what I was doing in my deck. It's like, yeah, the Garden Tomb was made because of the defense I had in Redemption.
Well, I was like, hey guys, one day you don't know this, but I'm gonna live near that Roy guy everyone talks about online.
And I'm gonna wreck him.
What are some cards I should get? And so it works. It was fun. But anyway, that's me.
Nice.
How about you guys?
Well, we played Rhino Hero, which was something you were talking about.
Okay, you have to be more excited when you talk about that game.
I'm trying to temper myself because I know I can get a little loud. So, it is an extremely simple game from Haba, and it's literally, the box is literally like the size of 2 card decks, and it's just cards and a little wooden rhino. That's it. And the whole thing about this game is that you have cards that have wall sections on it, and you build a tower very slowly, and occasionally the rhino goes up, and then the goal is to be not to be the last one standing, so to speak, or not
the first
to knock
one to
the
run out
tower
of
over.
cards.
Yeah. So I don't. It's odd because it's just like a party game that you wouldn't think you would enjoy because it's like, oh, this is like a kid's game, and then you're just like, nope, don't turn it around, don't turn it around, don't you do that, and it's just like it. They put enough in the game that there is a certain level of strategy to it that actually. It's not like really in depth or engaging or anything like that, but it is very, very much fun to play, and you can
very
continue
exciting.
to. Yeah,
It is extremely exciting.
It's like Super Jenga, except backwards. You're building the tower, not destroying it.
I just really like when it gets like way like huge, like 8, 9 like levels, maybe not that many.
When
but,
it fell for me, it was over 10.
Yeah, so like tons of levels, and it's like, if I play this card, I will probably win the. I'll be out of cards and I win the game. But if I fail, that's it. I'm gone, and I'm just out. So it's like makes it real tense, and you got to be as careful, and your hands shaking, and like the tower's shaking, and yeah.
Hey, but we were being pretty shady to each other because, like, I know when you build the tower, I imagine you're supposed to kind of build it on top of where the picture is where you should build it.
Yeah, it says
we were building.
I went back and looked at the rules.
Close to the edge.
Yeah, it's a little bit more strict on the rules than we were being. You guys were being a little bit more.
Our tower looked like it had scoliosis at some points. It was really messed up. It was.
I remember
it was
when
so
Ryan
nervous.
was trying to place the was it the rhino, or was he trying to place just a wall on one card, but the card wasn't actually connected to the wall in the corner, so it was like dipping down, and it was just like, how is this?
And then he was always trying to place the rhino upside down and like as far back in as he could.
He had to place the rhino upside down for the weight distribution so it could work.
It's funny.
It was awesome.
But yeah, when I first demoed this game at Gen Con, we demoed it or whatever, and me and my two friends I was with, we just immediately bought the game. And like they played a bunch at a bar. When we went to the Secret Cabal meetup, we played a bunch of games of Rhino Hero, and they kept saying that it was the hit of the con for them. They're like, Rhino Hero is the best game. When Trevor was over here, cool. When Trevor was over here yesterday, he's like, Rhino Hero is still the best game of Gen Con. And it's not even new. Like, it came out last year. So, awesome game.
It was awesome.
Good times.
I may just get in trouble and just buy it.
I mean, it's like $15. It's probably like not even that bad online. So.
I know, but here's the thing though. Like when I started,
I didn't go to Starbucks for 3 days.
When I started my board game collection, when I moved here to North Carolina, I was like at like maybe 40 strong, and now like a little over a year later, I'm almost at 100. I'm at 92 games now.
Yeah.
So it's like. It's my wife. She's just like, any more money you spend on this, and I'll leave. Like,
oh no.
I mean, maybe not that extreme, but like,
be like, hey man, I need content for the podcast. You actually have to play them for them to really be content. You can't just be like, this is what I bought this week. Haven't played it yet. But yeah, so the other game that we played on Friday was Betrayal at House on the Hill, which is a game that is based in like a haunted mansion where all the players are going around exploring the haunted mansion and finding items, and like events are triggering. But eventually, after you find enough omen cards, you'll roll the dice and it won't be so favorable, and the haunt will start, which the haunt has a special rulebook depending on who ends up being the traitor and who are the players. And basically, you'll split up and they'll go read their stuff and you'll read your stuff, and you'll scheme and try to figure out what you need to do to win. And normally the players know their win condition for the game, and then the traitor will know their win condition for the game, but you won't really know each other's win condition. So you have to kind of try to figure out on the scenario and what's going on what their win condition is to make sure they don't get it while also fulfilling your own. I think the game's a whole lot of fun. It's definitely very random. Sometimes it can be broken depending on like the way that the room gets built, but it's all about like the story that it tells. When we played on Friday, Rob was the little boy, and he picked up he found the omen ring.
I found the wedding ring.
The wedding ring, which triggered the haunt. And
Bro, she wanted me so bad.
This ghost ended up
so bad.
This ghost ended up coming and wanting to marry Rob's little character. Which your character was how old? Like 13?
13.
Yeah, so just this little boy, and there's this ghost demon lady, like undead lady, chasing after him. And then we had to find, as the players, the trader's goal was to just kill off Rob's character, which we didn't know at the time. We assumed.
But we kind of figured that. We kind of figured that when I left, and she kept following me.
Right. That she just wanted to kill him. Our goal was we had to do all this different stuff to find the name of her actual husband. Then we had to go to the crypt to actually find the body of her husband. Then we had to drag the body and the wedding ring into the chapel so that she would marry this corpse husband thing and he would reanimate and they could go off happily ever after instead of her like devouring Rob's character.
I will say this, while I was running, there were a couple times where I got very lucky where I took a chance. You guys remember when I was on the top floor and I was like, listen, I could go into this one area. It's not explored yet. But I could possibly get away, and I ended up falling through all the way to the basement.
That was so awesome.
That was epic. We needed that win so bad because I was down to one life, like one more hit and I'm done. But I needed to get away, and it worked out. And then he failed that, so he couldn't follow me, and it was fun. I enjoyed the game. I'm glad I own the game. The only thing that I did not like about the game, and I hope that somebody's fixed it on Board Game Geek, were the rules.
Yeah.
You know, like the rules kind of contradicted each other a little bit, and not to go into too much detail, but just like one rule would say, hey, you need 5 blah, blah, blah to do X. And then the next rule would say, well, if you have 3 blah, 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 you're okay to do X.
I'm pretty sure it was actually like, it was hard to understand, but like it was correct, but also like you have to, I don't know. Like it was,
well, like
you had to actually understand the way it worked. Like after I read it, like I understood what it meant, but like I couldn't read it because I wasn't the trader. Yeah. So it kind of made it sort of hard because like I'm normally the teacher of the games. So games like this is kind of hard because like at a certain point I can't teach you if you're the trader like the things that happen.
Yeah, because you can't see the end game.
I've never seen it before. I don't even know what's going on. So like Hector's really good at games. He's really smart and everything like that. But sometimes, like,
he's such a sweet guy.
Yeah, if the trader becomes a person that's not like a super strong gamer, like it can just fall apart for them because they just don't understand or can't figure it out. Which we did pretty good overall, but sometimes some of those rules are pretty tricky. So especially because it's like stuff that's completely different from the way the game was played for the rest of the game. It's like all new rules, all new monsters. You got to place tokens on the board here and there, and it could be overwhelming for a person that's not a gamer. So
I would like to say quick shout out to Hector, mi amigo mío. I was on point with Hector on Friday. I had no idea, but like our minds just connected because when we played Spyfall. Before the game started, I was like, you're the spy. I just know it. And he was. He was the spy. And before we even started playing House on a Haunted Hill, I was like, watch, it's going to be you with your chick girl, watch, and you're going to have to kill somebody. And that's exactly what happened. It was Hector's character with the chick that had to kill me.
Yeah, it was really funny, though, because you said that, like, it's going to be Hector, Hector's going to be the traitor. And, like, literally, when we went to look in the book who the traitor was, because you pulled the omen. Like, a lot of times, like, when the omen comes up or whatever, it's the person that, like, actually pulls it. Well, specifically with this, because the haunt's based on the omen that you find and the room that you find it in. Well, the combination that we had said it was specifically the character that Hector was playing. So it just made it so hilarious.
Yeah. And I had no idea. Like, I wasn't in tune with anything. It's just for some reason I was dead on with Hector that night. So he's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. But I had his number on Friday night. I don't know why, but it was awesome.
We were pretty lucky that because I'm pretty sure the haunt says that you can pick the person that the bride wants to marry. So he just picked you. Because it's not actually the person that picks up the ring. He could have just picked the person with like the lowest might and the lowest speed.
Yeah.
And he could have just ran them over.
Well, I think he also picked me too, though, because of the room that I was in. I was like near his character and the ghost character, and so it was like, okay, let me just kill Rob, because my character, I had a lot of speed. That's what helped keep me alive, but I didn't have like a lot of might, and so
I'm pretty sure if it was a slower character, we would have been doomed. Because you and Matt were really fast. Like my character was like super weak and super slow. If he would have picked me, he could have killed me like...
I got my speed up to like 6 or 7. I was taken off. But his character could go through walls.
I know.
So, like,
your character was
I
so
needed those
fast,
extra
and it was
moves.
still so hard for you to stay away. Like,
Yeah.
like he got up on you that one time and like hit you real hard, and we're like, "No, Rob, he's just a kid. Don't kill the little kid."
Yeah.
And
But it
Matt's
was
like,
it was
Matt's
a
like,
fun
I
time.
get might.
I'm
I
gonna
get
stay here
might.
in this room.
Hey.
I'm gonna get stronger for a little bit.
Matt was super strong though at the end of that game. Matt was like it was like Incredible Hulk carrying that body at the end of
I
that
was
game.
so concerned, and I mean, I feel like Matt was just like, we'll let Hector do good in this one. But I was like, at the end, like we pulled together and we made it happen. I'm
Well,
like,
like-
yes, we did it.
Okay, but will you be honest? You were a little disappointed in us.
Yes,
just-
because
just say,
hey guys, there's a
Weren't
point to the
mad,
game.
you were
Let's do
disappointed.
it.
I was running for my life and I was doing everything you were saying, but all I knew I had to do was like run because if I stopped, he was going to kill me. And like Matt wanted to get might, and AJ was like wanting to explore places.
So-
Ryan was doing something silly, and I just remember seeing Roy like, guys, we're here to win the game. I understand we're having fun, but we need to win the game. It's like we all got
It's
grounded.
almost like when you're like, hey Ryan, don't go down in that room. No, I'm just gonna go in here and like where all these monsters are. Oh, okay,
Yes.
go ahead, do that. That's fine.
I mean, it's frustrating when you're playing a co-op game and you're the only one cooperating with yourself. I mean, so I do get that.
I was trying to not be too much of the alpha player and be like a jerk and be like, guys, for real, let's do this. But it's all good.
I was sitting in the room, gaining might, because I was in one move to get the body, and then I could move from there. And Roy's like, "No, we need to min-max this. That one turn might be life or death." And I'm like, "Man, it already looks pretty bad." I'm just saying.
I know, that's why I was like, hey, it looks really bad. That's why we need to get on top of it. Because
It all worked out. We all won.
if he caught you,
Well, Hector did.
you were toast.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was not going to fail a roll against you. He came over and wrecked my character just because he could. Like, and he did a bunch of damage to me, like almost killed me, like 1 point away
Yeah,
from
he
killing
got
me.
to like it was stupid. He got to roll like 7 dice because he got to roll on like his knowledge or something like that. It was something silly. Like he got to roll a ridiculous amount of dice. So if he did catch up to you, he was gonna wreck you. But not Matt though.
And I'm
Matt
pretty sure that was
full of-
based off of like the number of players we had too, because we were playing like with the full suite of
Yeah, we
6
were maxed
players.
out.
So it's
Yeah.
like it's super hard for the players to do good against him because there's a lot of
We
them.
did it.
We did
Through
it.
your leadership, Roy, we did it.
Hooray.
Hooray. But yeah, I actually really love that game. A lot of people are like, oh, that game's broken and I'll never play it. I just play it for the story. It's fun. I still try to win, though.
I like it just because of the replayability it has. Like,
I
it's
did
got
try to win. I was just
20
running
to
for my life.
25 scenarios in it.
I really
And
wish...
it's like,
I wish they'd make like an expansion for it or like an updated version.
Yeah.
Like, because that game could be so ridiculous if they're like, hey, we're going to do a deluxe version. The rules are going to be revamped. We've got like new haunts in there and we're going to put minis in it. But you know what? It's never going to happen because it's owned by Hasbro.
Oh, yeah.
Hasbro makes money from mass market board games and Magic the Gathering cards. Board games are just like, oh yeah, we do hobby board games sometimes.
We need another tax write-off. Here's some board games.
Yeah, good times.
Still, I enjoyed the game. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. So our topic for tonight is
Da-da-da-da.
dexterity games.
Dexterity games.
So I guess I'll go into what exactly is a dexterity game.
What is a dexterity game, Roy Kennedy?
pick up sticks.
Pick up sticks would be a dexterity game. But a dexterity game is normally a game that involves normally like a lot of them have it where like a specific player loses a lot of the times. But it's always things where it's like you have to like use your fast reflexes or use steady hands to do different things. Sometimes it involves flicking. Sometimes it involves all sorts of things. It's not like an actual sport most of the time, but it's more like just being calm and like steady with your hands and stuff like that. Good examples of that like a mass market game would be like Jenga, but just different things like that. There's a ton of like great dexterity games. A lot of them are like labeled as kid games for the most part, just because they're like silly fun. But yeah, I don't know how else to describe dexterity games besides they're just things that you actually have to move things around with your hand to do good.
And you have to have like the hands of a surgeon.
Yeah.
You can't be shaken. You can't get nervous. You can't bring the fan from the other room into the room while you're playing dexterity
Hey,
games.
now.
You can't do like hardcore edition. Let's put on the fan as you're building your tower, and you got to take your turn in between. But you have to have that steady hand. That's what I've noticed so far with dexterity games. They're freaking awesome. I'm gonna become addicted.
I have a pile of dexterity games. Did you play Click Clack Lumberjack, Matt?
I played part of it. I hate that game.
So Click Clack Lumberjack. Click Clack Lumberjack is another dexterity game. I forget what company it's by. But it's like a Korean game. But basically it's like this wooden tree that you have like a little axe where you're knocking the bark off the tree, and you get 1 point for each piece of bark that falls off. But each core of the tree that holds the bark on, if it falls off, then you get -5 points for each core. So there's like 4 pieces of bark on each core, and it's like this big like thing of a whole bunch of rings of like they're trying to knock the bark off. So you have to like gently try to knock these sections of the tree so the bark falls off and not the thing. They made a different version called Bling Bling Gemstone, which is exactly the same game. But I guess the theme makes
Sounds amazing.
The theme makes a little bit more sense because you're knocking off like these little crystals and gemstones without the whole like center like rock column falling down. Because it doesn't really make sense to be a lumberjack and not knock down the whole tree. It's like I only want the bark of the tree. But the Bling Bling Gemstone, if like the center falls down, it makes a lot more sense because like that's the cave collapsing on you. But yeah, it's a fun little game. I had my son play it, and I set up the tree, and he just goes whack and knocks the whole thing down.
Well, I guess that kind of goes into our next little question: are dexterity games just for kids? And after Friday, I would like to say with a resounding no, they are not. They are for me and for children. They are amazing.
Another really good dexterity game that we've played there before. I don't know if you've been there, Rob. Is Lupin Louie?
Yes, that's what I was gonna say next.
Where it's technically automized for the most part, but it's still very kind of hand-eye coordination and skill based.
Like you have to pop the airplane up, right?
Yeah, and so you have to get it to avoid your coins and hit other people's coins. And it's funny because I feel like there's a very different play style between like kids and adults on these things. Like kids just might go ham and hard, just strike right out and just like destroy the game, whereas adults will be very tempered for a little while, and then eventually they'll start just becoming a child again and just slamming it for no reason. And it's like, yay, all the things.
Yeah, your first exposure to that game, like we'd been playing like all these other like hardcore games and stuff like that, and I brought that out. What did you think, Matt, when I first brought out Lupin Louie?
So the thing, like you like brought it out, and you're like, yeah, so this is this, and I was like, oh, this game's made out of plastic and uses batteries and looks like something I could find at Target. This is strange.
I got it from Toys R Us, so for like $20.
And like at first I was a little skeptical, and then we started playing it, and I was like, nah, this is awesome. Don't even bother. Don't even worry about it. This is amazing.
Yeah. What is it about the simplicity that just makes it so amazing?
I think that's just it. It's like it's just that simple that you don't have to sit through a rule book. Like, it's not like if you're playing Battlestar Galactica and you're like, well, hang on, do the Raiders move this way or that way? What happens in this situation? And there's somebody thumbing through a rule book. You're just like, yeah, touch things, and you just do it until the game's over.
And there's a ton of times in these games where it just makes these like really tense, like high energy situations. It's like when it's like in Lupin Louie, it's just down to the 2 players and like they're going back and forth. They each only have 1 chicken left, and you're just like, who's gonna win? But the other 2 players are still playing, trying to knock the person that killed them out. So you're just like, and you're screaming at each other, and then finally one of the chickens gets knocked down, and everybody's like, yeah! It's amazing. Like, a lot of the times in these games, you have like a specific player you want to lose. After you've already lost, you're like, they need to lose. Like, wreck them. But it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for the invite on that night.
We played a lot of times, man.
I think I was invited that night. It's just
I think you're invited every night.
Dude, man.
I think so, right? Like, when you have your own box in the podcast, you're allowed to come every night.
Next time you're here, just be like, dude, man, Lupin Louie, it will happen.
No.
It will happen.
I mean, yes, but we still need to play Ghost Stories.
Oh, no. Ghost
do
Story
love-
does not have a dexterity element. Thank goodness.
I
It'd
understand
be
that.
even
We can
worse.
talk about that another time, but I feel so bad for you. You haven't beaten that game. We need to go on this adventure. I need to kill it.
It'll kill us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have played some of these games with my son. I think dexterity games, like for super young kids, are really difficult because like they don't necessarily have like the super like strong like hand coordination yet, and a lot of times they don't understand the rules. So it's like, look at these things stacked up, time to knock them all over. Or
Yeah.
like, oh, we're supposed to actually carefully do this, but it's more fun to see them fly all over the room.
Yeah.
But it's still
Yeah.
hilarious trying to be like, do it easy, man, do it easy. And he's like, and he slips and drops it accidentally, and then he's just like, ah, smash. But yeah, tons of fun. Yeah. So, what are some dexterity games? I know we talked about a few. I've got a bunch of other ones that I don't know if you guys have heard of yet.
Have you guys heard of Crokinole?
Yes, that's a huge dexterity game for like gamers.
I really like that game. My buddy's store in Conway at Misewell Games, he has a whole Crokinole board set up and everything like that, where you have to flick the objects into the center of the board. That's a lot of fun. And then I would say the other one, which we've already mentioned, Rhino here and Jenga. I have it. I haven't played it yet. Is Flick 'em Up, which actually kind of reminds me of Crokinole, but with the cowboy theme. I mean, it's not, you don't have the board set up like Crokinole, but at the same time, you do have those little discs, and you do have to flick them and try to kill. You have to shoot the other cowboys. So
Yeah. What was I gonna say?
something good, life-changing, worth writing down. Amazing.
I think a game that I really want that I don't have yet, as far as dexterity games go, is Pitch Car. Have you seen that game before?
I have seen that game.
So basically, Pitch Car is like this. It's like this racetrack all set up.
Yeah.
You can set up the racetrack however you want, but basically, like the cars are just little discs, and you
Yep.
flick the discs around the track and try to not fall off and be in the lead. And like that's the whole game. Like there's rules for what happens if you fall off and different things like that. But they've got expansions for it, so there's like jumps and different stuff. It sounds like super simple because you're just flicking discs around a racetrack.
It is not super simple.
Right. I mean, like the concept is super simple. And
Yeah.
it sounds like it wouldn't be as exciting as it is, but it's awesome when you're going over jumps and doing like different things like that, and like you actually make this sweet move to get you further ahead of everybody else. I had an iOS app that was the game, or pretty similar to the game, and me and Ryan and Phil played it so much. Racing around.
Like at work, because you like take turns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I remember Ryan showed me that, and I was like, "This is what?
Yeah, and it was awesome. But it's
awesome.
basically the exact same game, except in that they gave you like power ups and stuff like that too. So, but yeah, that's basically the same thing as Pitch Car. So that's a good like. That's probably like the top race, because I don't have like any racing games. That's probably like the
Yeah.
top like racing game on my list to actually get.
I don't have any racing games. Isn't that also one of Tom Vassel's big games? Like, I think he did a tournament or something.
Yeah, he did
for
a
that
big
at Dice
tournament
Tower.
for it at the Dice Tower convention, and he like borrowed a whole bunch of people's like track pieces and stuff like that, and had this huge long
Yeah.
track with winding things and jumps and like crosses and all that stuff. So
Tom Vassell at the Dice Tower. We're big fans.
nice. Another one that I think is pretty cool is slipping out of my mind.
Rampage?
Yeah, Rampage. Rampage is a game where basically you're monsters. It's now called Terror in Meeple City because they lost the license to call it Rampage.
Aw.
Yeah, I know, super depressing. But basically you're all a bunch of like lizard creatures, and you set up these buildings with meeples like for the like supports of the buildings, and you set them up with a whole bunch of tiles. So there's like this meeple tile building, and you have your creature's feet and like its body, and you take the body off and flick the feet to move. And then you can also, if you're like on the sidewalk of a building, you can drop the body on like an actual building. Then you can also pick up, like, there's different vehicles. So there's like an ice cream truck and an armored car and like a tank and stuff like that. So you can pick those up if you're in the same area with them and like flick them off of their head at like another building or like another creature to try to knock them down. And then you can also blow in this game. You can put your chin on the head of the creature and try to blow the buildings down like you had like fire breath as a Godzilla type dragon creature. The game is amazing and hilarious and tons of fun, and it actually has like decent rules to where it's not like a kid's game. Like, it's not super simple. I mean, you could like take out like all the rules and make it a lot more simpler, but like you're trying to collect sets of different colored meeples, and then you have like superpowers that allow you to do different things that the other characters can't do, and it makes it a lot more complex than just a hit the thing and try to stop someone from getting your chickens. It's more like there's victory points at the end of the game depending on what type of meeples you eat and stuff like that. So it's a very interesting game, and the whole game ends when all the buildings are destroyed. Then you count up everybody's points, and whoever has the most wins.
Yeah.
Tons of fun.
Yeah.
Did you actually get to play that one, Matt, or you just saw it played?
I just saw it played. It looked like a lot of fun. I was like,
I just saw it played.
We'll definitely have to get to the
because
table.
I was playing the world's longest game of King of Tokyo. The game that should only take 10 minutes, but
I just picked up King of New York.
Nice.
So.
But yeah, the next question is there heavier and more involved dexterity games?
yeah.
So you guys might not know as much about this. Rampage is one that's a little bit more involved. There's also one called Ascending Empires, which is like a space dexterity game where you start with like a planet in the corner of like this thing, and all the planets are like discs, and you literally have to flick your ship discs to like land close to planets and colonize them. You can also attack like other ships by flicking them. There's like this whole like upgrade system to try to get like resources of different types. It's like, I wouldn't really say it's 4X, but it's kind of like a 4X-ish space exploration dexterity game where you're having to flick spaceship discs across the board. So
Man.
that's kind of crazy. But it's got like a whole like little like upgrade and tech thing you can do too. So like it's got more advanced stuff. There's also a game called Catacombs, which I haven't played, but it's like a dungeon crawl like dexterity game where you're flicking discs to fight off different monsters, like D&D type monsters and stuff like that, which that game looks like a lot of fun also. Have you heard of either of those games before, Rob?
I have heard of both of those games. I actually, no, I have heard of Catacombs. I have not heard of the other one. Sorry. I take that back. I've heard of Catacombs. The other one sounds cool. I like space. I like things like that. My problem is like these things, like trying to flick something. I don't have a control of my power, and so like it usually goes off the play mat or goes off the table or something.
I mean,
like
I
that.
can definitely feel you there too, because I play like all these games very casual. That's another thing about the dexterity games is you don't really have to care that much. It's like you win, you lose, it's whatever. It's just a game where you're flicking things. It's not like
The only one that will ever matter to me is Rhino Hero.
You were getting pretty intense during that game.
Bro,
Well,
it was a big deal. It was a very big deal. And if you don't realize how big of a deal it was, go to our Instagram page and check out the video from Rhino Hero. It was huge. And I don't know, I still feel a little cheated. Somehow somebody hit the table or something. You know, because we were doing so good.
background clapping for the fall. I was like, yes, I'll survive a little bit.
Well, you hear me yell like, no.
Yeah, you yelled no, and then AJ's going, yes, 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 yes.
No, AJ was counting them. He was like,
He was, but immediately after you yelled no, he's like, yes, yes. I was trying to like engineer it during one of those games so that like I played a reverse because you were sitting beside me, so the reverse would come back around so that I could like skip you like the next turn, and I actually got to do that, but then I died before you did, which is kind of sad.
Hey, have you put up that have you put up that Twitch yet on YouTube?
Oh, the video for that?
Yeah.
No, I have to actually like get the archive video to go up on YouTube.
like, and I know this is not on subject, and please forgive me, but I really just want to hear the underlying messages that AJ was like whispering into the microphone as we're playing all these games. Just like all the little things that he was saying that I'm wondering how much are going to have to be censored out or what's going to be allowed to stay. You know,
I don't think any of them are going to get censored. They're just like random tirades about like certain video games or like the Game Grumps. Just random stuff.
Well, then our conversation about going to the karate match, I don't know if that was on there, and judo chopping people. Like, I don't know. I want to watch that whole entire playthrough, not for the different games, but just all like the background conversations that was going on during the time.
Well, for anybody who's listening to the podcast, all of our archives of like the entire like streams of everything is on Twitch. So if you go and look for like our archives, that's all the stuff like uncut out. So that'll be like have the after show and everything. That's only up for like 2 weeks after a podcast is put out. It stays up longer if I actually like cut out the pieces and like archive it and then take it actually over to YouTube. But anybody who wants to look at our backlog of stuff can go to our Twitch, www.twitch.tv/Epic Gaming Night to check out our past streams.
Boom.
Boom.
They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun.
So, guys, what is your favorite Dexterity game?
I'll let you guys go since you already know my answer.
Dude, I still really like Loopin' Louie. I don't know why. It's like so much fun in the right group. Like it's so light and so simple. And like when we had my Roycon thing a couple years back, like we had a Looping Louie tournament. So we had like 15 people like doing like matches and like the winners were paired together and all that stuff. It was a ton of fun. So I still really like that. It's so light and so simple, but like you can't play that game without laughing. So
how about you, Matt?
It's really tough because both Loopin' Louie and Rhino Hero have like a lot of similarities, but are still very different. But like the thing I like about both of them is that the games, like a long game, might take like 5, maybe 10 minutes. But I mean, most of the time you're just getting in and you're going, okay, woo! With like Rhino here, Loopin' Louie is just like a bunch of smack talk and like simple finesse, and then a lot of crying, and it's just I don't know. Both of them are very, very good games.
Well, obviously, mine after Friday is, as of right now, is Rhino Hero. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun, and I do have an epic story from that. However, I am really, really looking forward to Flick 'em Up, just because I do like Crokinole.
Me too.
And Flick 'em Up seems like it's just gonna be amazing, and the whole like you have to have shootouts and you set up the buildings and all that kind of stuff. It looks so cool. It's something that I need to break out.
Each character has like a certain number of hit points, so you can take a certain number of hits before you die, and like you get to do the characters in a certain order and things like that. It does
count if your bullets like deflect off of buildings. So like you can like have your bullet hit the building, bounce off, hit the barrel, then hit the guy, knock him over, and it still counts. Like it just seems like so comedic, like a 1950s Western, just silly, goofy stuff.
It's definitely more of a gamer's like Dexterity game because it's got like a bunch of like cool little rules and stuff to make it super thematic.
Yeah. What was that movie with Mel? The Wild West, and it had like the sheriff on there, and the guy punches out the horse. Mel Brooks. It was a Mel Brooks comedy movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Absolutely hilarious movie. Flick 'em Up kind of, I think it's going to be like that, where it's just like super silly, like cowboy stuff.
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. That's right. That movie's actually really funny. But I'm excited for Flick 'em Up.
When I was talking about, do you have it like right there?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Have you seen that movie? It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I haven't even seen it.
I'll shoot him. I'll shoot the sheriff. I'll shoot the sheriff.
So a couple of games I didn't talk about, where this
yes.
Puzzle Spinne. I don't know if there's an English version of this for like Haba USA, but literally like this Dexterity game, you have these hair bands that you put around the box, and it holds up this Mama Spider disc, and you stack little baby spiders on top of it, trying to make it so it doesn't fall down. And if it falls down, you're out of the round.
And you're a bad mom.
And you're a bad mom because you couldn't carry the spiders. The two different spiders like different weights. So you have like the red one, which is smaller, and the yellow one, which is a little bit thicker. But you have to roll this die to see which one you get. And there's also a symbol.
I would definitely be a red spider.
Yeah, there's definitely a symbol that makes you just spin the whole box around and try to knock it down. My son like loves this game, even though he goes a little bit crazy on it. But we've actually stacked it pretty high without him psycho smashing the spider. But that was really fun. And then Matt, do you remember this game?
Yeah, the one with the ring, that thing.
So the next question is, do you have any epic stories playing a dexterity game? I don't know how epic this is, but I played this a couple days ago with my in-laws and my wife. Basically, it's like a ring that has a whole bunch of sticks, and you're just pulling out the sticks depending on the color you roll on the die. Almost sort of like pick up stick-shift, but it's kind of like different because you have this ring, and you're trying to not let it fall. We played a game where it was getting super close. Like there was almost like no sticks left. There was like 5 left, and like my sister-in-law went and she pulled out perfectly fine, and my brother-in-law went and there's only like 4 sticks left. He pulls out fine, and then my wife went and there's like only 3 sticks left after she's done. She like perfectly put it on there, and I put a video of her like actually doing it up on Instagram, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, your wife has skills!" So she was super stoked about everybody commenting on her dexterity game skills. But then I'm like, well, I guess I lose because there's only 3 left, and it's impossible for me to yank it out. But that was a ton of fun playing that because my in-laws actually really enjoyed it. They always like it when they can smash me at a game.
How about you, Matthew Robbins?
Oh, please, no.
No.
Thankfully, my name's common enough that it's not like they're going to be like, and I know where he is.
Here comes the SWAT.
But
I'm sorry.
no, it's fine. There's so many ways you can find me, and all of my information via Google. But
I just Google epic beards in the XX area.
I just watched that stream where you're putting in your credit card number. I'm just kidding.
Or I'll just be like Roy, and I'll say, "Hey, yeah, send me the stuff." And then when the stuff gets there, forget who sent it. That was kind of freaky. It was fun. We were excited about that. Thank you for sending it. I'm not going to say anything bad. But like when you forget that people sent you something, and you're like, "How did they know?
Get my address?"
Babe, we're moving.
Oh god, so good. I can't really think of.
Come on.
Much. I don't.
Dexterity games are kind of interesting. It's like you just have fun and you laugh, but it's like, is it epic?
Mine was definitely epic. I'll give Matt a moment to think. So we're playing Rhino Hero, which is probably one of the greatest games ever created. Like this game is so stupid fun.
God.
Haba, you can send the check to... No, I'm just kidding.
Robert Newman. I'll give you my address, just not online. So we're like, the tower's like 11 deep, right? And some person, I don't remember who it was, but somebody was just, for lack of a better word, a jerk. And they put this Rhino card down. We're 11 deep on this tower. And they put the Rhino card down, and then they had the Rhino card where you have to make like the 2 V's back to back on each other. And we, like I said, we were playing really mean to each other, so it's like the tower had scoliosis. So when they put the V's back, like the Rhino was right on the edge, right? Like if I put the Rhino down, it's going to fall. Like everything's going to fail. And so the Rhino's like 4 spaces down. It's enough down where if I shake it just a little bit, everything on top is going to fall. So I'm trying to be serious while everyone else is laughing and pointing and like giggling and stuff. And I'm trying to be serious. And so I, as precise as I can be, I put my fingers together like this, and I go in and I get the Rhino and I pull the Rhino off. And I'm like on the inside, I'm like, I'm a beast. Like I just pulled out epic beast mode. because no way should I have gotten that rhino off and the thing was already shaken. It was so bad. So then now I have to put the rhino on the edge. I get my little X-Acto fingers, rhino on. I let go of the rhino. The rhino stayed on. Nothing fell. No problem. I was so pumped. I was like, oh man, the hard part is done. So I go to build tier number 12. And as you can see from the video, Roy's like, hey, someone start counting the tiers. And that didn't affect the game or anything like that. But I literally just went to go put my next card on top. And I was going to put like something basic so I didn't knock it over. By me placing my little paper-thin card on top of the tier, everything fell over. Not taking off the rhino, not putting back on the heavy rhino, but just placing this super thin playing card. It's the size of like a ace of spades, like regular playing cards. Weighs absolutely nothing, but just putting it down, and you'll see my reaction on our Instagram page. No! I yell, I scream, no! It just happened. It was
everyone cheers.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure like that time when it fell, like sometimes when it falls, like it falls like half of it. I'm pretty sure when it fell that time, like everything was just gone.
Everything. It was like an old Vegas casino. It just like from the bottom out just was gone. That was epic. That was epic, and it was also epic because everyone was cheering. Not that they wanted to see me lose, because everyone loves me. It's not that at all. No, but. It's just because the tower was so big, like nobody wanted to go next. Like if your turn was next, you hated yourself because you knew you were going to knock it over.
That's one of the subtleties of the game too. Is like you can save those, like you can do those skip cards like early, or you can like do them late, and depending on like when they happen, being skipped could be like really good nearing the end.
Yes,
like yes, I didn't want to place on there.
Oh, you want to skip me? Okay, yeah. So that was my epicness. In fact, it was so moving. It pushed Matt away. Matt has now left the podcast. He will be joining us shortly. But yeah, it has that effect on people. So anyway, Rhino Hero.
Nice. I guess if we want to, we can do a question.
We have to answer this question. It's been on there for a couple weeks now.
Yeah. So what we've been doing is like if the show goes too long, we're like, oh, we don't have time for questions. Well, we are going to answer this question. Do you have the question, Rob, that you can read? Rob?
I'm going to get my answer for this question. I'm going to get it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Cool.
Coming right back.
So, guys, we stream the podcast live every Tuesday on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at www.twitch.tv/Epic Gaming Night. So, Rob, do you know what the question is? Can you read it?
Yes, the question by Vishal_Rose asks, I've always wondered what other people use to sort their pieces in their games. Plastic cases, Ziploc bags, or something else. Like a doggy bag or something, I guess. I don't know. But I actually use a bunch of different stuff to sort my pieces and to separate everything. Because I do like to play a lot of games, and I do like to bring out games often, and I think it actually helps the wear and tear on games when they're organized and put away properly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it also makes it a lot easier. Like when we're playing like a big epic game, one of the worst things you can do is pull out the box and everything be a mess.
Yeah.
You know, I hate that, because then that 45 minutes to set up the game is now an hour and 15 minutes. Like you can easily add on 30 plus minutes trying to look for pieces. So,
yeah, good organization can definitely help with game setup time.
Absolutely, and the longevity and the life of a game. So I have a bunch of different pieces, and to answer your question, I use everything. I do use Ziploc bags.
Like just regular sandwich bags?
Well, I like to do the one that has the zip across, or I'll just use the sandwich bag. It depends on the size, because some games the pieces are abstract enough where you can't put it in a container, but you need to have it separate from everything else. So
yeah, most games, like I think that the sandwich bags a lot of times are too big. I like to get the little like dime bags, like the ones you can get like for arts and crafts. I mean, it's basically what it is. It's but like you can always find them. Like you can even find them at like Walmart in the section where you have like the necklaces and beads and stuff like that. You can get a ton of those, like a whole bunch for like $1 or $2. And I just get a couple different sizes, like a medium size and a large size, and that's what I use to store like a bunch of different cards and things like that.
So this little bad boy, it's great for cards and stuff because it pops open, and you can put cards and dice and stuff in there. Or these little things. All of these things that I just showed you, I bought at the dollar store. Like this little thing comes with like, it's either 6 or 8 of them in a package for $1. This comes with 3 for $1, and this also comes 3 for $1. And then I got some of these Tupperware ones, which these little Tupperware bins, also 3 for $1. Now this big guy, I got at Ace Hardware.
You have to make sure to describe them a little bit too, because the audio podcast is just going to be like, "What are that? What is this?"
That's right. So this is this little gray one right here. This is about like what I would consider like a sauce container. Like if you wanted to put mayonnaise or something, like if you were gonna like do like an onion dip maybe for chips for a sandwich, you know, a little plastic container. It's a good cube size. It's about 2 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches. Mm-hmm. They come in little packages. Again, I like to go to Family Dollar because everything at Family Dollar is $1. If you go to Dollar General, it's generally $1, but at Family Dollar it's $1, and so you can get like 8 of these for $1. This is a red container. They come in different colors, but this container, if you took a playing card without a sleeve on it. If you took a playing card, you could fit a deck of playing cards in this. What I mean, the deck is your normal standard poker or like 52 card deck into this, and then the cap goes over it, and it snaps together. So that's great. And then this next one, this is a smaller one. It's more of a rectangle. It's about the same height as the first gray one. It's about 2 inches tall, but it snaps. This one's great for a lot of dice. You know, a lot of dice and things, or if you have like that game that has like a lot of chits all over the place, like Twilight Imperium, where you have like the little storage units, or like your currency looks like the little storage containers. You can put them in something like this, makes it a lot easier. Or this is also big enough for you to put in plastic ships, like from Twilight Imperium and things like that. And then the Ziploc bags I like to use for everything. I especially like to use the Ziploc bags for cards, so I can see through them clearly and try to get see what I want. And also, I like the Ziploc bags for games like let me say this, the big Ziploc bags. What I mean by that is like the gallon size Ziploc bags. I like those for like games like Level 7 Omega Protocol, or like Star Wars Imperial Assault, where your board are different discs, and you have to attach them in certain areas. But certain discs don't attach to other discs. In certain parts of the board, you need to wait for other things. And so I like to separate those in big Ziploc bags.
To help protect them.
Well, help protect them. And then I know, okay, this Ziploc bag, this is the generic one where it's kind of like the base game. But then this little Ziploc bag over here is for missions like Mission 4 and Mission 9. And then this one's over here.
You can divide them by scenario, basically?
Yep, divide them by scenario.
Do you use like Plano boxes and stuff like that much? Like the big, like almost like not tackle boxes, but you know, like things that normally people would use. So you use just straight up like huge Tupperware things?
I have like, it's almost like a plastic size shoebox. And let me show you what I use it for. I'll be right back.
I would say I use a lot of, depending on the game, but I use like, this is the sort of thing I use for Twilight Imperium. I have my paints in here currently, but like you can get, like if you go to like the fishing section at a lot of stores, or if you're like in arts and crafts and you look at like the beads area, you can get these Plano boxes that have just a whole bunch of dividers. And if you're playing like one of those giant epic games like Twilight Imperium, I have a couple of these in there that I can divide like all the different things. There's a really nice like bead like sorter thing that's like a lot thinner, and I keep all my ship parts for Eclipse.
I have that for my battle lore, for my Battle of Westeros battle lore. I do have that bead one where you can go to like the hobby section at Walmart and they sell that. But I have like this box, and this box is full of all of my zombies from Zombicide. Since I have like so many zombies now, and since I usually I mix the expansions together because I like the expansions are great, so I like mixing everything together. So I just have all my zombies in like one huge box. And
so when a certain event happens, you just turn the thing over and just dump all the zombies onto the board?
Almost, because there are some events where it's just like a stupid amount of zombies. It's like you shouldn't win, but the game is such a hack and slash fun, like button smashing game where you still can win, but it's a blast. But yeah, so I use everything. If it can help me stay organized and keep all my stuff together and protect my products and my games, because I care about my games. I buy them, I want to play them, but I want them to last a long time. Like I'm not buying this just to be worn out in a couple years. So whatever you're comfortable with, Rose, works for you. But I recommend everything. Just try what works. And also it also depends on the size of the box as well. Like this big game, like this big box, I can't put in the Zombicide box. So this comes separate. But all of these little boxes that I mentioned before in the Ziploc bags, I do put those containers back in the box. And so I like these sizes, these small 2x2s, because they do fit in the box and everything is organized and separate. So
I also use a lot of like the little Ultra Pro deck boxes.
Yeah.
Like you can get just the like $2 deck boxes. If I have games like card games like Wiz War and stuff like that have a bunch of cards, I just throw the decks in those card boxes, and that helps protect them if they slosh around in the game. Do you sleeve a lot of your stuff, Rob, or does it depend on the game?
It depends on the game, and it depends on how often I'm going to play the game.
Right.
Because sleeves aren't that cheap anymore. Because most games, like when you buy a game now, like I wanted to go sleeve my legendary encounter stuff, and when I got done reading, it was like almost 700 cards, and so you're talking about like almost $30 worth of just sleeves. Just sleeves.
And how many of those cards do you actually use like during a game?
Yeah.
Like
and so
100, like 150?
and maybe. And so like I do want to play that game, but that's probably not going to be a regularly played game just because of the setup time and everything like that. However, like Ashes, because it's to me also like Redemption and also like Magic the Gathering, it's going to be a game I'm going to play a lot. I'm going to have my fingers on it a lot.
Yeah.
So that'll be a game that I will sleeve. You know, if I know I'm going to play it a lot and it's going to have a lot of wear and tear, I will sleeve it. So,
Matt, do you have any input on this topic at all? How do you sleeve your video games?
Ditto. I keep all of my collectibles inside of a fun thing called Steam, and it's stored in a cloud far, far away from me, so I don't ever have to touch anything.
Yeah, but okay, what are you going to do, Matt? Okay, that's fun, but when the zombies come or the terrorists blow up our network system, you're not going to be able to play your game offline, and that's why board games are the best, because when we have no power, when everything goes away, we can still play our games.
I was thinking, like, whenever you actually decide to, like, buy your, like, there's a board game that's just so amazing that you have to, like, buy it. It needs to sit on your shelf, like, that you can actually have. Like, it needs to be like this monumentous event. Like, this is Matt's game. Like, this is the game he decided to go with. It's going to end up being, like, Lupin Louie or something.
Right, yeah, watch it be something so simple, like...
Rhino Hero!
Right.
Oh, man.
Which, that's a good one, if that's what you choose. How about you, Roy? I mean, are you pretty much the same?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to like throw in all my stuff, but yeah, for the most part, just different containers, different things, different deck boxes. For sleeves, like CCGs and LCGs, you have to sleeve because I mean, you're holding cards constantly. Like that's what you're doing. Any other games that are like similar to that, I try to sleeve, like Citadels and stuff like that, because you're passing these cards around. I try to sleeve, and it's just like. Just different games. If I really like the game and I play it a lot, I'll try to sleeve it, and then sometimes it just doesn't matter that much. It just depends.
And some are hard to sleeve. Like I love Mansions of Madness. It's fantastic, but like some of their card sizes are very small.
The little sleeves are a pain in the neck. I mean, you can get them for Fantasy Flight, so you can basically, I mean, any Fantasy Flight game, they have sleeves for all their different stuff, but it's a pain in the neck sleeving all those little bitty cards. And it,
really
also
is.
makes it really hard to shuffle like this.
Yeah. So to each their own, but my stuff is protected.
But yeah, I definitely suggest again those plastic little dime bag style things that you can get. Like that's the first thing I do when I open a new game. I immediately like pull out my
You get your dime bag?
Yep, I get my dime bags out. But like my little jewelry bag things, and like put all the different stuff in the different bags so that way it can be stored. Because some publishers do amazing with inserts. Some of my favorite publishers don't waste time with inserts. They just make the game and throw it in the box. And after you pull it out once, you're not even going to be able to fit it back in the box.
Pretty much. Like, I'll just say it. The majority of my Fantasy Flight inserts are all in the trash.
Well, here's one thing that I do with mine. I can show you with this game I got sitting right here. So like they give you just like a random cardboard insert, and normally like this center valley is like the only thing that's there, and then all the stuff shoved in that center valley. Like I always like turn them inside out so that I can have like two valleys, and I put the things in the two different valleys instead. It's a way to have a little bit more storage and still keep everything from just like if you shake the box, it's not gonna be all over the place as much.
But if you put it in containers and you protect your stuff, if it does shake or you do move, you don't have to worry about so much damage or things getting out of place.
Yep.
I will say this though, Plaid Hat, when they came out with Summoner Wars Alliances, their new one, their big box, they included like these little foam cubes. So as you added in cards, like it would be tight in the box where you didn't need to necessarily sleeve everything. Like the foam cubes made it where you could eliminate a foam cube the more cards you got. So everything was nice and tight and organized in your box. That's actually one box where I kept the insert. I really liked it. They did a very good job, and I really like the foam. Now I kind of had to get rid of all my foam because now I have like all the cards. But I thought that was really cool when it first came out. Like, what a great idea. And it was soft, so it helped protect everything. It wasn't like rubbing against anything or bending anything. So
nice. But yeah, protect your games, guys.
Protect your games, or we're going to come and we're going to take your games and we're going to look like rhinoceroses and we're going to wear capes and we're going to push you off a building.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Matt's going to do all of those things that I just said.
Matt's the
You heard
muscle.
it here, guys.
Nice. Okay, guys. Well, I guess that's pretty much a podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and thanks for hitting us up on all the things.
Anybody in chat?
There's a couple people.
So where can they reach us at, Roy?
Yeah, so if you have any questions that you would like us to answer on the podcast, feel free to email us, epicgamingnight@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter or Instagram @epicgamingnight. We can answer any questions there and talk about it on the show. We stream the podcast every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at www.twitch.tv/epicgamingnight. And we also do live board games on Fridays from 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
If you were not watching this last Friday, there's a part of your life you'll never be able to get back. It was that great.
But yeah, so make sure to follow, like, subscribe, hit us up on iTunes with reviews, and Facebook. So yeah, it's been real.
Thank you, guys. Matt's beard says bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Y'all have a good night.
Talk to you later.
No, what did I keep saying on Friday night? Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Have a good night.
Peace.